Hello, everybody, and welcome to Will's What's What. I'm your host, Will Alberti, and today we'll be talking about one of my favorite sports, Ultimate Frisbee. Ultimate Frisbee is a fast-paced 7-on-7 sport played first to 15 points. It's on a large field, just as big as a football field or soccer field. Today we have Stephen Sheffield, our special guest, and he is the coach of the Cohasset Ultimate team.
Thank you. It's really a pleasure to be here. Well, I'm still basking in the glow of our doubleheader wins from yesterday, so it's a good day.
Great. All right. Thank you for coming.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure.
All right. So I've got a couple questions to ask you. First is, what is Ultimate Frisbee? I went over it a little in the introduction, but give us more of an overview of what it is and how you play.
Absolutely. Well, like many field sports, it is at its very core a game of keep away. Obviously, it's with a flying disc, and you can get it to your teammate as you can, however you can, but there are certain throws that will work better than others. And it's a non-contact sport. You cannot run with the disc, but you can pivot.
Okay.
And literally, however you can get it to a teammate over the goal line is what works.
All right.
Right? The sport itself was invented in 1969 by some high school students at Northfield Mount Herman in Western Mass. And those guys went off to their colleges and started teams there and started competing against each other, and that sort of started an intercollegiate league
That's so
of
cool.
sorts, and it's been going ever since. It's fast growing. It's on ESPN2. In fact, the collegiate championships just ended the other day with Colorado on top.
Wow.
And a really good friend of mine's son was on the second place team from Middleburg, who has an excellent team. So it's an amazing sport, and it's up to being an Olympic sport at some point. It's on the list of those that I think surfing might have beat out. Ultimate won the last run. So
Gotcha. That's so interesting.
yeah,
Thank you.
it's really fun.
And so if someone were to put 14 people on a field and said, go play Ultimate, what would be your first things to tell them on how to play the game?
Well, the first thing to tell them is to just have a blast, for one. But what it is there's, like you said, 7 on a side. And to start the game is something called a pull. So one team stands on one end zone, one team stands on the other. They pull it, and from wherever it lands, that team sets up and starts their offensive drive to the goal line. And the other team does whatever it can without actually hitting anyone to stop that disc from flying through the air.
Cool.
Yeah. And points are scored with the disc being caught in the end zone.
Okay.
Meaning you could even catch it jumping and land in the end zone, like that kind of thing.
Okay.
You don't have to run over the end zone. You have to be in the end zone.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And so when did you start playing Ultimate?
Well, my high school, way back, did not have an Ultimate team. But my friends and I would play almost every day, especially half days. We'd go off and we'd play. When I got to college, I thought I was good, but tried out for the college team, made the second team, not the first team, played, and then since then I've been playing in various teams all around Boston, and even down here I've been playing. I still play.
That's great. Good for you.
Yep.
And so you went over it a little, but what inspired you to play Ultimate? Like, what gave you the idea to start?
To play it, it's just really fun. I just really enjoyed it. I think that the reason I wanted to play Ultimate and not just play with, throw a disc around with friends is because of the fact that it's so active without it being incredibly. And there's no anger in the sport, really. It's just really athletic, and I just really enjoy it. There's just something really satisfying about the connections you make from player to player, and I think there's a different breed of person that likes Ultimate.
Mm-hmm.
like I just think that there's just like an interesting personality of a person that plays Ultimate, and I just enjoy that person. If that
Great.
makes sense.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, great people.
Yeah, and so what are your personal future plans for Ultimate Frisbee? Do you plan on continuing to keep playing or keep coaching?
Yeah. Well,
or?
as long as I can, as long as I can keep up. In fact, there's a pickup game here around Cohasset with guys that are older than me that play once a week.
Wow.
But for the team, I would love to keep building the team because right now we, I guess a little bit of history of our team here is that in 2016, I proposed teaching Ultimate to some younger aged kids through the rec center. Mm-hmm. And I got a group there. And then I was approached by a number of high school students. About 10 high school students came up to me and it was like, hey, we play Frisbee and Ultimate all the time. Would you coach us? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So all of a sudden I had this pre-built team and I approached the South Shore League and said, hey, we have this loose team. Could we play with you? And they were like, absolutely. And so we just started showing up and I taught them Ultimate and we built this team and they were all in the other sports. So we had baseball players and actually funny, some of the tennis players were the best because of the sideways cutting. We had a bunch of track guys and that built the team. And we did really well for those 3 seasons right before COVID hit. I know. We did really well. It was really fun. And many of those guys, I'd say about 5 of those seniors went on to play Ultimate in whatever college they went to.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah,
good for them.
It was really, really fun. I keep in touch with them. So like I said, COVID took the team out. It went away. And then we tried to build it. And then I think you were even there when we tried to build it right before lockdown. Weren't you? Like we had like a practice on the field, and then it was like, oh, sorry guys, school's over.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and then we tried to rebuild it after when things lightened up, and last year I think was our first full season, and I mean for 8th graders against seniors, we did really well.
Yeah,
and that's what I would like to continue doing. I'd like to continue to build the team. I'd like to have it be sort of self-sustaining.
Yeah.
Right. So that's my goal here, is
Great.
to have it sort of start building from within the high school instead of from external pressure.
Great. All right. Thank you.
I know, that's my long story.
And so, so mainly in Ultimate Frisbee, there are 2 kinds of throws. You have your forehand and your backhand throw. Yep. Why are there 2 different throws, and what's better for a certain scenario?
Absolutely. Of the 2 basic throws, the backhand, which is the normal throw that pretty much everyone starts with.
Okay.
Might even be the original throw. I'm not sure about that. But it's literally across your body.
Okay.
Right? Just straight across. And then from there you would advance until the called a forehand.
Okay.
It allows you to extend your arm a lot further than this way. So you can sort of get it around your defender.
Cool. That sounds super helpful.
Oh, it's really helpful. And it's one of those throws that, I mean, we try to practice that more than any other throw because it's essential to the sport. So,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And there's absolute techniques to it and things that will push you on your way.
So you say that there are multiple ways to throw a disc, but are there multiple ways to catch a disc?
Yeah, well, as also we have found that being able to actually receive the disc is incredibly important on the team. And it might look really great to be able to jump and catch it with one hand and dive out, but the reception of those is sometimes problematic. So the basic catch is a clap catch, or a lot of people call it a crab catch. And that's it. You basically just need to make sure that you have possession of the disc before it hits the ground.
Cool.
Yeah, and that's a practice because that isn't necessarily the most pleasant, so you have to sort of build that up.
Cool, thank you.
So, yeah.
And so is Ultimate Frisbee a professional sport, or does it just about drop off at the collegiate level?
Oh my gosh, yeah, no, it goes on up into the professional level. In fact, I have a number of friends here in town in Cohasset that have played professionally all around the world.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a paid sport.
That's awesome.
That's right. There's European leagues. There's all around, and it's big. Also, I think this is interesting to note. There are now scholarships at many colleges for ultimate players because it's a very big collegiate sport.
That's great. Good for them.
Yeah, it's a high level.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you said that there was a ultimate program through the rec center. Is that still happening?
It is. That is how it started, and I like to sort of keep it up to sort of get younger players in the mix, and also have there be something to do in the off season, right? So I think that's why we get more players in the rec program in the fall, because there might be less outdoor sports.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the case.
Yeah.
But it's also it's an option.
Cool.
Right? And in an interesting way, I also like to sort of support the town. So
Yeah.
It brings a little revenue to the town, and it also allows me to have kids that are not actually in the school, but are in the town to be able to come and play with us. So we have a few players that show up that are not in the high school.
That's great.
Yeah.
And then what's your advice for people that want to start playing Ultimate as a sport? Like they've never played, but they're like, this sounds awesome. I'd like to start playing. What would you tell them?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, there's a great way to look. I mean, YouTube is full of demos and things that'll teach you the sport. If your school doesn't have it, you can start it. I think the best thing to do is literally just pick up a disc, right? And just start throwing with a friend or a bunch of friends. A really great way to practice throwing a disc is to play disc golf, right? I have known a lot of people to literally just set up disc golf courses through their neighborhood. It's like, oh, I'll get over to that telephone pole. And then they go from there to, I'm going to go over to Joe's house. Oh, and then just sort of you figure out how to like get the best trajectory to get to those places. But as far as playing Ultimate, I mean, we built this from the ground up. So, and we're not rocket scientists. So anyone could really do it. There's a lot of books out there. And I guess I'm not trying to promote them, but there is an organization called the Boston Ultimate Disc Association Alliance, Buddha. They have summer camps. They have kids programs. They actually help host training towards the Youth National League.
Really?
So they're a great organization and have a lot of great resources through them. It's just buddha.org, buda.org. They don't have a South Shore. They don't have anything in the South Shore yet, but we're hoping to change that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So that's what I would say.
All right. Well.
Or talk to me. I'll teach you Ultimate. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for answering some questions. And if you don't have anything to say to the viewers.
I'm happy. Yeah.
All right. Then thank you for coming to Will's What's What, and hopefully we'll see you in the next episode.
Join Ultimate.
All right. Thank you.